Marilyn Monroe. Say the name, and an image immediately pops into your head, right? But what if I told you that image is only half the story? We're going to look at just one year, 1953, a year that shows a totally different Marilyn. And I promise, it's going to completely flip how you see this icon.
All right, seriously, just think about it for a second. When you picture Marilyn Monroe, what do you see? I bet for a lot of you, it's the pink dress, right? Or she's singing about diamonds. Maybe it's that iconic white dress over the subway grate. Whatever it is, just lock that image in your mind.
Yeah, for most of us, this is the image that comes to mind. The fun-loving, diamond-obsessed showgirl. This is Lorelei Lee from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. She's the template, right? The bubbly, maybe a little naive bombshell. The Marilyn that we think we know so well.
So, let's talk about the Marilyn you know. This is the Gentlemen Prefer Blondes persona. This is the character that launched her into the stratosphere, a global superstar born from these big, bright, dazzling comedies and musicals.
And this character, it was so specific. You know, it was honed to perfection in movies like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and How to Marry a Millionaire. She wasn't just some pretty face. Sure, she was bright and bubbly, but there was always this little hint of a devil underneath, right? A charm that was almost mischievous. And that whole naive thing, oh, that was a weapon. She used it to get exactly what she wanted, and she did it with absolutely killer comic timing. And of course, she could sing and dance like nobody's business.
Okay, but here's the twist, and it's a big one. What if all of that was only half the story? And what if the other half, the complete opposite, was told in the very same year? This is what's so wild about 1953. It really is a tale of two completely different films and two totally different Marilyns. So let's just park on this for a second. The year is 1953. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes comes out and makes her an absolute global sensation. But at the same time, another huge Monroe film hits theaters. And this one, it honestly feels like it's from another planet.
And here it is. In that same year, 1953, Marilyn also starred as a manipulative, dangerous femme fatale in the dark thriller Niagara. I mean, think about that. The same year she's singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, she's also on screen as this scheming, adulterous woman planning to kill her husband. It is so jarring, so completely different, that for decades people just assumed Niagara must have been made way earlier or later in her career. Nope, it was 1953.
This wasn't some fluke. This was not an accident. This was a masterclass in artistic range. We can actually break down her entire on-screen persona into two very different, very distinct systems. Two faces in 1 year. I mean, just look at this side by side. It's wild. In Niagara, the genre is a dark, suspenseful thriller. In Blondes, it's a musical comedy. Her character in one is a literal femme fatale. Her character in the other is the comedic bombshell. The tone? Dark and dangerous versus bright and fun. And their motivations? Oh, just adultery and murder on one side and diamonds and marriage on the other. It's just an absolutely incredible display of range from the same actress in the same year. So let's give these personas a name so we can track them. First, you've got the Niagara type. This is your classic, bewitching femme fatale. She shows up in suspenseful, dramatic roles. She's not a character, she's a force of nature, you know? Driven by passion and usually some pretty destructive impulses.
And then you have the Blondes type. This is the one we all recognize, right? The charming, comedic little devil. This is the Marilyn of musicals and comedies. She uses that so-called naivete to her advantage, always with a playful spirit, usually looking for some wealth and security. She's a survivor, but a fun one.
But this whole two-faced thing wasn't just a one-year gimmick. It set the stage for her entire career. And that Blondes-type persona in particular was about to get a major upgrade thanks to one of the greatest directors of all time.
So you see the foundation being laid in 53. You have the femme fatale in Niagara and the comedic bombshell in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Then along comes director Billy Wilder. He takes that bombshell character and just perfects it. In 1955's The 7-Year Itch, he makes her a satirical bombshell, poking fun at the whole idea. And then in 1959 with Some Like It Hot, he adds this incredible layer of vulnerability. That's how we get Sugar Cane, one of the most iconic and deeply human characters ever put on film.
See, Wilder got it. He knew it was a performance. There's this great line that his films weren't just bright. They had irony and satire, a touch of poison behind the laughter. He wasn't just directing a comedy. He was adding all these layers that made her character smarter, sharper, and yeah, absolutely timeless.
So what are we supposed to do with all this? Well, it means we pretty much have to rethink everything we thought we knew about Marilyn Monroe. This isn't a story about an actress who got typecast. It's a story about a brilliant performer who had the world convinced her most famous role was real.
So let's just put it bluntly. The myth that she was a one-note, dumb blonde. The reality, she had incredible range and proved it in the very same year. The myth is that her persona was a trap, a limitation, but the reality is that her persona was a calculated, incredibly versatile performance.
When you get right down to it, her unbelievable fame wasn't built on just one image. It was built on the tension between two powerful, completely opposite personas. The fact that she could be both the femme fatale and the bombshell, that's where the magic was. That's her genius.
And that really leaves us with one final, kind of mind-blowing question. If she had this much skill, this much range and control, could it be that the dumb blonde, the character that everyone thought was real, was actually her most convincing, her most difficult, and maybe her most brilliant performance of all?